All right, how's it going, guys? Welcome to another episode of Sexual Mastery. Thanks for joining me. I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can magnetize your ideal life. So today I'm going to be talking about Taoist sex and Taoist sexual practices. Something I'm very passionate about, and a lot that I'm going to be sharing with you today. So stick around. So what is Taoist sex? Well, first of all, what is Taoism? Who are the Taoists? So the Taoists were a group of basically cultivators in ancient China, energy cultivators. A kashish, is that how you say it? Kashish? I hope I'm saying your name right. How's it going, brother? But yes, the Taoists were a group in ancient China. They developed incredible internal practices, developed Qigong, Tai Chi, internal martial arts, internal alchemy, acupuncture, many healing systems. So a lot of very incredible accomplishments that the Taoists made. And they were basically spiritual scientists. They were bridging the gap between, we could say, religion and science. And they created their energetic science as many of us, many acupuncturists, well-established organizations still use today. So it's sort of in the habit of the Taoists to take something natural and maximize the energetic cultivation of it. So when it comes to sex, it's no different. So they looked at sex and say, okay, here's this natural thing that we all love. How can we get the highest harmony, the highest balance, and the greatest benefit and energetic cultivation from sex? And so they developed their system of sexual practices. And this is really the story what sexual kung fu comes from. Kung fu is that which requires basically daily practice. It's a discipline. It's a lifestyle. It's something you practice at every day and get better. So sexual kung fu is the art of mastering your sexual energy and your sexuality. And so one thing that the Taoists looked at, they looked at man and woman in their interactions, their sexual interactions, and it's very obvious that there's an imbalance. Women have this sexual superiority over men. They have tremendous sexual power. Men are easily defeated in the bedroom, we could say. But women can they don't have to worry about having an erection or a refractory period after ejaculating like men do. So women are basically have this infinite supply of sexual energy, whereas men are easily exhausted. And the analogy here is that men are fire and women are water. So they're quick to become aroused, but they're also quick to burn out. They're quick to ejaculate and exhaust that sexual flame. Whereas women they're a bit, they're water. They're a bit slower to become aroused. The water has to slowly come to a boil, but they can hold that arousal for a much longer period of time. When the water is boiling, gets hot, it takes a long time to cool off. And so the key here is to harmonize this water and fire exchange between men and women. Of course, this is true in same-sex couples as well. We all have this yin-yang dynamic within us. But for men and women, the man needs to learn how to control his sexual fire so it doesn't burn out of control and so that it doesn't burn out. And he needs to learn to bring the woman's water to a boil and harmonize that water-fire exchange. And so for men, it's very, very important to learn ejaculation control. Learn to control your ejaculation. Statistically, men last an average of around 5 minutes before they ejaculate during sex. This is a worldwide statistic. And so women take much longer than this to warm up, to become fully aroused and orgasmic. So there's this great gap between the sexes, and this often manifests as conflict in relationships, unfulfilled sexual desires for one partner or the other. And often men are compensating they often feel this sense of inferiority sexually, and so they try to compensate in other ways, and they try to dominate in the business world or in politics, religion, whatever. We see this all the time. So instead of trying to act these things out in this external struggle, if you can simply learn to control your sexual energy, learn to master your sexual energy. And for men, this means being able to control your ejaculation and separate orgasm from ejaculation. A lot of men are so addicted to the ejaculatory orgasm because it's the only thing they've ever experienced, because they were taught to experience it. Most of us learned about sex through porn. So we're like, oh, this physical act of shooting out our life force, that's all there is to sex. And so, it becomes so addictive. But when you change that habit, when you learn to change your relationship to sex and to orgasm, you're no longer fixated on this short-lived ejaculatory orgasm that ultimately depletes you of your energy. And so many men are depleting themselves, burning themselves out by constantly ejaculating. Semen is a man's life force. It's the essence of his body. And when a man is constantly ejaculating, eventually his body can't keep up with the demands of creating the semen. It takes so many nutrients, so many resources to constantly produce semen. And so when a man's ejaculating every day, he can get away with it for a while in his teenage years, but once you hit adulthood, it's you keep ejaculating every day, you go into depletion. And this is so common in this modern world. Men are burned out. There's so many sexual issues, so many men that have premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction. And so constant ejaculation burns a man's energy out, burns him out. And his confidence drops. He's not able to bring it in the bedroom or in the boardroom, out in the world doing work. And so it accelerates the aging process and drains a man of his energy. So it's so important to regulate a man needs to regulate his ejaculation, not ejaculate every time he has sex. And the Taoists developed methods to do this, methods to control that arousal. And instead of ejaculating it outwards, bring it into the body, circulate it throughout the microcosmic orbit, the main energy pathway of the body. Instead of the sexual energy flowing down and outward, this is the path of death and aging. Instead, you bring the sexual energy upward to the higher centers of the body, nourishing the brain, the glands, the organs with sexual vitality. And this is the path of immortality. This is the path of youthful vitality well into old age, which is what the Taoists were well known for. There's records of some of them living 150. There's even a potential record of one Taoist master living to be 250 years old. So clearly they had the art of longevity down. And that's why I really respect them and do a lot of Taoist practices. So it's really about regulating your energy. As I said, men, it's so important for a man to lose this attachment to ejaculation and instead experience a higher form of orgasm, an internal orgasm. And this takes some training, but like I said, you open up these internal pathways and learn to bring that arousal inward, build it up in the body. See, there's these different energy centers in the body. You can bring the sexual energy there, and it builds up and it builds up, storing it in the body. Most men are locked down with tension. Their bodies are tight, they're closed down, and they don't have the ability to hold on to this powerful sexual charge. When you become aroused, you build this sexual charge. It's powerful, it's magnetic, we can feel it. We go through this obvious transformation when we become aroused. But most men have sort of a need to expel this sexual charge as soon as it builds up. So instead of that, when you open up the body, open up different pathways in the body, open up the energy centers, bring the sexual energy internally, then you're no longer fixated on this point of ejaculation because it's so much more nourishing, so much more fulfilling, and you can have such better orgasms by bringing this energy within and boosting your health, your confidence, your energy levels, healing yourself and your partners. There's a lot of questions being asked. As always, I'm going to answer questions at the end of this, so hang around. So another thing I want to mention here is that there's a lot of spiritual paths, that practice celibacy. Like the brahmacharya of India, the Indian yogis practice brahmacharya, which means living in the way of Brahma. And they often interpret this to mean, okay, no sex, no sexual thoughts, I have to take the sex thing and put it in the closet. Well, that doesn't work out very well. You can suppress your sexuality for a little while, but it's really the root of our being. And it's one of the most powerful driving forces. So if you try to suppress your sex drive, forever, it's going to come out in very imbalanced ways usually. The Catholic Church is a good example of this. So to me, celibacy is not necessarily the answer. Trying to force yourself into celibacy, it usually doesn't work. It doesn't work out very well. And this is why I love the Taoist approach, is that, well, you don't need to stop having sex. You just need to learn how to have sex in a way that doesn't drain your energy, to maximize the energy exchange, to maximize the benefits, and cultivate your life force, enhance your health, enhance your body, and bring yourself closer to your partner. And so in Taoist sex, Well, I mean, in sex in general, there's a yin yang exchange between partners. It's like, say, man and woman. The man has an abundance of yang energy. He has an abundance of his masculine essence. The woman has an abundance of yin. So there's this exchange. The man needs that yin to balance himself, so he absorbs his partner's essence and his partner absorbs his essence. It's this exchange. And this is why sex is so healing, why we all love sex so much, because it balances us. It nourishes us, because we're polarized. And so when we connect with the opposite polarity, we get that which we lack, and we're able to build up this neutrality, this neutral force within our bodies, which is so healing and so nourishing. So Taoist practices are all about maximizing that exchange, making that sexual energy exchange conscious and amplifying it to high levels, bringing yourself into powerful resonance orgasms with your partner. It's so incredible. And you open up these pathways of the body, you circulate your sexual energy through it, exchange it with your partner, and you're consciously guiding this energy through your bodies, and it builds and it builds. You build a sexual charge, and then you exchange it, and it just keeps building and building, and you get into very high states of altered consciousness, of incredible orgasm. It's very powerful. And so this has been a life-changing thing for me. Like most men in this world, I used to just sit in a chair every day, looking at porn and masturbating, just stiff in a chair, just ejecting my life force out. And I was depressed, I was unmotivated, I was going nowhere with my life. I had all these addictive patterns. Well, I started practicing qigong, meditation, yoga. I started practicing sexual cultivation. I stopped ejaculating my life force away every day, and so many changes took place in my life. I have so much energy from my practice. I don't take drugs. I don't take stimulants. I don't even drink caffeine, because I'm so energized by my practice. I have more energy now than I had when I was 18. And I have so much creativity, so much drive to live the life that I want to live and to create the things I want to create. This is the power of sexual energy. You can do this. Anyone can do this. You just have to gain this conscious awareness with your body, the cycles of your body, the energies of your body, and how to harmonize them, how to keep yourself in the flow. So Taoist sex is a very, very powerful and incredible thing in my experience. And I want to give you guys a little bit of a practice so you can start to connect with your sexual energy on a more conscious level. I've shared this in other videos, but we're going to do some orgasmic breathing. So just sit quietly, close your eyes, and just feel your body. Put a smile on your face, and then bring that smile within. You're smiling to your internal space. And feel your sexual center. See a glowing pink light here. And for men, connect with your testicles. Women, connect with your ovaries. And as you inhale, feel your sexual organ expanding, almost like it's a lung or lungs, and they're expanding with the breath as you inhale. Exhale, contracting, breathing in and out of the sexual organs. Now as you inhale, squeeze the pelvic floor muscle like you have to urinate, you're holding it back. Squeeze that muscle as you inhale, and feel like there's a straw in your spine. You're sucking up the sexual energy up to the brain, to the crown of the head. Inhaling up. Exhale, feel it spiral, feel it condense in the brain. You can look up with the eyes too to get energy. Inhale, lightly tighten the pelvic floor, breathing up the spine. Exhale, feel that orgasmic energy pulsating the brain. It's very subtle in the beginning, but it really grows as you practice this. Once again, inhaling up from the sexual center up to the crown. And then exhale down from the crown like a waterfall, all this energy down the front of the body, tongue against the roof of the mouth, connecting the channels. Feel it collect in the belly center. And then see yourself sitting inside this pearl of energy in the belly center, all this sexual energy that you've circulated. Just smiling, bringing some sort of intention to this. What do you want to bring into your life? What do you want to let go of? Just seeing that. And let go. So that's a quick practice, very simple. You can do that to connect with your sexual energy. Powerful. Okay, guys, I'm going to answer some questions now. Feel free to send any questions. How do you not get mad when you don't ejaculate? Good question. So this goes to when your energy channels are open. This is okay. So this is why I always teach, in my course, I teach emotional clearing practices, methods to release negative emotions as they arise, because sexual energy can amplify these things, which is why a lot of men going into semen retention and they're not doing any sort of practice to balance that energy that they're building up. They're just like, okay, I'm just gonna build up this energy and just see what happens. And a lot of men experience irritability, anger, frustration, and it's really not that enjoyable for them because they have all these underlying dysfunctional patterns. So you really want to clear these patterns first before you start cultivating sexual energy. So that's why I always start with emotional clearing. So the male's orgasm is still of much pleasure. I'm not sure in what context you mean, but yes, even the non-ejaculatory orgasm is very pleasurable. If it's yin and yang, women are not superior but equal. I said they were sexually superior. They have incredible sexual power. Men can't grow human beings in their bodies, so it's obvious that women have more sexual power, but men typically have more external power to compensate for this. So no, I agree, men and women, yin and yang, are equal and complementary, but they each have their strengths and weaknesses. Have you seen this practice heal pain in the body? Yes, definitely. I've heard stories. Some of my students have told me they had certain pains in their bodies. They brought their sexual energy there with some of the practices I teach, and it went away. And I feel all kinds of different things in my own life from doing these practices. How to develop more sexual energy? Do qigong, eat healthy, sleep well, get plenty of breathe properly, get some exercise. The basics. I have a video on YouTube called Increase Your Libido Naturally, so you can check that out. What if my breathing is restricted? I have some sort of pelvic issue and have nowhere near the lung capacity I used to. Well, you can do things to sort this out. Practice breathing. Massage your diaphragm, your tight areas. Do yoga, do qigong to release these tense areas of your body, because you definitely want to be able to breathe properly. As a woman, there's an element of orgasming together, and feeling the life force is amazing as well. Yes, definitely. How would you go about healing your sexuality if you have prostatitis? Well, you want to work on that issue first. There's many things you can do to cure that problem. There's different herbs you can take to heal your prostate, different techniques and things like that. So you'd want to focus on that first before your sexual cultivation. Is ED erectile dysfunction caused by a partner or by self-desensitization? There's very many different causes of erectile dysfunction for men. Mostly it's psychological, but there can also be physical causes. If you're depleted, the erection is linked to the kidneys and the liver. So if your kidney and your liver energy are deficient, you might not have proper erection. So, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're overstressed, things like this. When you're constantly in the sympathetic nervous system state, you're always in fight or flight, always stressed out, then you're probably going to have trouble experiencing erection. So it's about being able to bring balance, calmness into your life, for sure. How can we open the energy channels in our bodies? I have several videos on my YouTube channel on the microcosmic orbit, which is a good one to start with. So check out the microcosmic orbit meditation. Question for transmutation: do I need to touch myself first to spark the sexual energy in the sexual organs and then move it? Not necessarily, but you can. You can do it completely internally, just with your awareness, breathing in the sexual center, moving it through the body. You can also stimulate the energy first and then bring it around. Working with the aroused sexual energy is different than the unaroused sexual energy. Is it healthy to swallow female ejaculation? Yes, many traditions say it is. The Taoists are all about absorbing the the sexual fluids of your partner. So yeah, definitely. I feel like school drains my energy. What can I do to not feel that energy? Um, Practice Qigong, build up your energy, do yoga, do breath work, do meditation, build yourself up. What kind of emotional work do you recommend? I use different practices. I use breath work. In my course, I teach transformational breath work to clear negative emotions and a practice called 6 Healing Sounds, which has been very, very effective for me. I also practice fusion of the 5 elements, in which you actually digest your negative emotions and strip off the negative charge, so you recapture that energy that you've invested into your emotions and neutralize it to harness that energy and take off the negative emotional charge of it. What's my ethnic background like? Lots of. I have some German ancestry, Northern European, some Swedish, Norwegian, things like this. Yeah. What kind of music do I make? So yeah, I'm also a musician. All the music on my YouTube channel I make, I've done all kinds of different genres. I do electronic music production, acoustic music, lots of different stuff. Okay, guys, any last questions? Feel free to send them in. I'm going to jump off here. Thanks for joining me today. What made me start semen retention? Good question. I read Montauk Chi's book, Multi-Orgasmic Man. Well, I had read several books. A lot of spiritual practices, they talk about semen as being the life force of the body, and not to just eject it unconsciously. So the seed was planted in me from that, but I hadn't begun semen retention. But then I studied Montauk Chi's work and understood a more practical aspect of how to actually go about practicing semen retention as a man with high sexual energy in this modern world, because being celibate wasn't an option for me. So I learned that learning that you can have orgasms without ejaculating and cultivate that sexual energy, use it within you, use it to propel your life, to fuel yourself rather than just ejaculating it out. That was very attractive to me. So I started doing it and had phenomenal results. So that's how I got into semen retention. Does energy healing work help move sexual energy up? It depends what kind of healing work you're getting. Anything that opens up your body, helps you open up the channels, clear blockages, is going to help you to have, a clear system to move that energy through. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me today. I'll be back again next week, same time. So thanks for watching and have a great day. One last announcement. I'm going to be doing a retreat in Thailand with a friend of mine. We're hosting a men's retreat, 7-day intensive. It's going to be incredible, learning sexual practices, a lot of different stuff. It's going to be incredible. So first week of November, I'll be posting more information about that soon. So yeah, check it out.